If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Police in Kaduna arrest 2 persons allegedly behind the kidnap of 6 students and 2 teachers of Engravers College in Jukun local government area of Kaduna State. Representatives of farmers and herders signed peace agreement to end frequent clashes in Adamawa State. Nigeria Railway Corporation begins free train ride on the Lagos-Ibadan rail line from now till March 2020 as the Federal Ministry of Works reopens the Berger end of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway tomorrow. And North Korea threatens Japan with real ballistic missile following criticisms over her launch of 2 projectiles on Thursday. For more information on our top stories and others, just go to our website. It's channelstv.com. YouTube.com/channelsweb has videos of all our shows. There's an urgent need for the federal government to recapitalize 11 electricity distribution companies in the country and effectively fund transmission network if the nation must overcome the challenges of epileptic power supply. These recommendations were made by the Managing Director of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, Mr. Usman Mohammed, and other experts at a national discourse on addressing the power sector reforms in Nigeria, organized by the Kaduna Polytechnic. The need to review the privatization of the power sector carried out in 2013 takes the front burner at this meeting, centered on addressing challenges in the sector. The event, organized by the Kaduna State Polytechnic, has in attendance the Minister of Power, Managing Director of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, and other experts in the field. While some lament negligence on the part of the federal government, others give their suggestions on ways they believe will bring about improvement.
The biggest problem is electricity supply level. Whether 2005, when the law was passed to open up the sector, or 2013, when privatization, electricity level was too low for privatization. Unfortunately, we are following blindly what more advanced countries that had energy access, electricity access, near 100%. The direction of the discourse should be proportional to the amount of investment that you have. Therefore, one person presenting government on the board of discourse is not acceptable. If the private owners will have 4 or 6, then government will have more. That's what this is the only way we can secure enough. Generate power, let the young people get employment, states will get revenue, and the economy will start picking up. Otherwise, kidnapping, Boko Haram, and ambulance will never end.
On his part, the Minister of Power blames the lapses on what he calls a severe structural deficit in both transmission and distribution, but gives an assurance of the federal government's plan to effectively contain the challenges.
Although various steps have been taken to curtail these material challenges of the sector under the present administration of President Muhammad Buhari, which includes Payment Assurance Guarantee, PAG, loan granted to the bulk traders for payment of invoice of both the generators and gas suppliers.
Experts believe to achieve Goal 7 of the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, which entails providing all citizens access to electricity by the year 2030, there's a need for a result-oriented reform in the power sector. Still talking infrastructure, the Minister of State for Works is reassuring Nigerians of addressing the issue of road development in the country. The Minister, Abubakar Aliu, made the pledge in Calabar, the Cross River State capital, at the 25th meeting of the National Council of Works. He pleaded for patience on the part of Nigerians as the present administration implements its infrastructure development plan.
For a very long time, we have not given attention to our roads, infrastructure. Not only road, so many things in this country. It is only when this government came in 2015 that serious attention has been given to our roads and other infrastructures. And something that was neglected for a very long time, before you pick it up and reach equilibrium in terms of balance, it will take some time before that. But we are working very, very hard. It's something that we are not relenting. And you can, if you cast your mind back, in 2015, the budget for roads in this country was only 18 billion. That was made by the previous government, 18 billion. And the next budget is around 300 billion. That is to tell you how serious this government is with road infrastructure. Currently, we are having over 500 roads going on simultaneously. And our focus now in 2020 is to start finishing these roads. So we have targeted those that are nearing completion, and we are concentrating on them from now 2020 to start turning them over.
Commuters traveling to Ibadan from Lagos can now take advantage of the Lagos-Ibadan standard gauge rail line, which is running free services from today to March 2020. The announcement was made today on the Twitter handle of the Minister of Transportation, Mr. Chibike Amechi, where he explained that the takeoff point is the Iju train station in Lagos. He also asked commuters along the route to take advantage and ride to the next level. The Vice President, Professor Oshibajo, then as acting president, inaugurated the construction of the Lagos-Ibadan rail project on March the 7th, 2017 on the NRC compound in Lagos, in line with the federal government's plan to connect all state capitals and major cities by rail. The Iju-Abeokuta section of the standard gauge new railway line operated a free daily train ride for a couple of weeks as part of its trial run in February before it was discontinued. Meanwhile, some relief may be coming for motorists who ply the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, albeit temporary, as the federal government has announced plans to reopen the Berger and Kara Bridge ends of the road tomorrow. The Federal Controller of Works in Lagos, Mr. Adedamola Kuti, confirmed this to Channels Television. According to him, the road will be reopened by 9 a.m. to ease the flow of traffic on the highway, especially as the festive period approaches. The road was partially closed and traffic diverted on both sides of the expressway in September, where the reconstruction of that section of the road began. Both in- and outbound motorists who have had to use the expressway have endured severe traffic jams, sometimes lasting hours, as the reconstruction work lasted. The situation was made worse whenever there was a breakdown of any vehicle on the Kara Bridge. Incidents of robberies have also been reported as armed persons have capitalized on the gridlock to rob road users of their belongings. The president will participate in a groundbreaking for the University of Transportation in his hometown in Daura, Katsina State on Monday. The specialized university is to focus on research and human capital development for the transport sector. Apart from flagging off the construction of the university, President Muhammadu Buhari will also commission a newly constructed road linking Daura and Kano. The president arrived in Daura yesterday evening after attending the 5th summit of the Gas Exporting Countries Forum in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea. He will leave Daura for Kaduna on Tuesday. Now let's move to Yobe State, where the government is seeking partnership with traditional rulers and lawmakers to end gender-based violence. This call comes in line with the United Nations campaign tagged 6 Days of Activism, holding to commiserate with victims of gender-based violence across the world and create awareness about this menace. The Speaker of the Yobe State House of Assembly told journalists that they have already passed the Yobe State Penal Code 2018, which stipulates life imprisonment for rape cases.
The United Nations 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence started a week ago, and it will run through the 10th day of the month of December 2019. When the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations visited Nigeria last week, she emphasized the need for the government to join the campaign against gender-based violence and criminalize perpetrators.
We began the 16 days of activism for gender-based violence, and I want to thank again the government. We were able to launch that together with the Minister of Women's Affairs, and then to go into an audience where, of course, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs was also there with us. I think this really just goes to show the centrality of the burden of gender-based violence on women.
Here in Yobe State, a coalition of civil society organizations and some lawmakers in the state are taking the campaign to stop gender-based violence to the grassroots. They are seeking a strong collaboration with the traditional institutions.
All forms of sexual gender-based violence against women and girls in our world requires strong advocacy to our communities. The Honorable House will not relent its efforts to end the devastating menace through legislation.
Let me also draw your attention to the fact that even last 2 weeks or so, there was a special Emir Council meeting summoned by His Royal Highness the Emir of Pika, which included all our security outfits, particularly on the issue of rampant cases of rape in Potiskun and its environs. I think the judiciary should be called upon the judges to take this issue very seriously.
To welcome you to Potiskum Emirates.
In his remarks, the Mayor of Potiskum says there is urgent need to address the triggers of gender-based violence, such as drug abuse among young people.
Such evil practice does not happen until when maybe the youth are under influence of drugs. So, coupled with this, one can go out of his mind and commit such an offenses before he start regretting later when the evil of these drugs might have started subsiding on him. Therefore, it is a timely effort for you to track around, to draw the attention of our society to the evil that is happening in our society.
The UN 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence is a special global campaign to raise awareness of the need to end this menace and also criminalize perpetrators of violence against vulnerable people, especially women and children.
News just in says Mr. Smart Adeyemi has emerged winner of the Kogi West senatorial election. The INEC returning officer, Professor Olajide Lawal, a while ago announced that Mr. Adeyemi of the APC polled 88,373 votes to beat Mr. Dino Milaye of the PDP, who polled 62,133 votes. INEC had announced their supplementary poll after the rerun election on November the 16th failed to produce a winner in the process said to have been marred by violence and other alleged electoral malpractices. When the news at 10 returns, financial expert recommends use of off-balance sheet financing model by the federal government to ease the burden of debt obligations. That's on Business News. Join us again.